First of our two letters that we have now. Ireland is a small country. We can't really transform international foreign policy on any huge level, but there's one thing we can do, as Matasma so articulately and emotionally explained. I mean, by admitting people to this country, and Ireland has full control over who and the numbers of people that we admit here, we can actually save lives, okay? So sign this here and you'll be saving lives. Now this is a letter to the Minister for Justice, Charlie Flanagan, and it's about the family reunification issue, which is a huge issue and it's a key priority for Syrians in Ireland. And it is complex, but there are practical solutions. There are two groups of people. There are the people that have come as refugees and also Syrians, and there's some in the audience who have been resident in Ireland for many years and have been trying also to be reunited with family members. So the general gist of the letter is focusing on those two groups that basically, and it's for relatives who are coming from situations like you've seen in the film within Syria, but also relatives who are in dire situations in places like Al-Zatari camp, in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Turkey, and they really need, and for their families and the just psychological security of their families and for people's integration here, it is so important that they are able to reunite. So there's two aspects regarding refugees. The interpretation of family under the new International Protection Act of 2015, which was commenced this year, is very restrictive. And it means that close relatives beyond immediate nuclear family currently have little hope of being reunited with their loved ones in Ireland. Now you will be aware, many of you, that just yesterday the International Protection Family Reunification Amendment Bill was passed fully by the Shannon. It was passed in the initial stages in July, and yesterday it was passed through committee stage. It got the support of all opposition parties, and independent senators such as Claire Keller did a Herculean amount of work in getting that through. Now it is vital that the government support that amendment bill and that it is enacted in the Dáil without delay. And then in the case of Syrian residents, many of whom are Irish citizens in this country, in their case, the exceptional humanitarian circumstances, which are part of our criteria regarding immigration law, should be activated to enable relatives of Syrians resident in Ireland to be brought here to safety. So any at-risk members of families of Syrian residents should be brought in under that particular provision. And just the letter just ends with just urging the government to adopt a more realistic and culturally appropriate definition of family, and extending it to, we're talking about grandparents, we're talking about sisters who may be on their own with small children, we're talking about people who would be vulnerable due to kind of health conditions, or not having the people that they are dependent on with them. So to introduce to extend the definition of family in the case of refugees back to what it was under the 1996 Act, and to introduce a humanitarian admission scheme that would enable Syrian residents in Ireland, some of whom are Irish citizens, to bring their vulnerable relatives here. And these recommendations have been also made by, for example, the Joint Justice and Equality Committee report recently, and also the Irish Refugee and Migrant Coalition. So we're adding our voice to those calls, and if we please sign that letter that we can put pressure on both Simon Coveney in relation to foreign affairs issues, but also on the Minister for Justice in relation to the family reunification issue. Sorry.